seen as like the meme shit posting central. This is actually on the internet. This is considered quite a holy place.
Really?
That not many. On the internet, this is considered quite a holy place.
Really?
That not many people get to make the pilgrimage to.
Well, making a pilgrimage to the creator of Hitler Dog, Hitler Dog's kind of the ace of spades.
Yeah, it was the one that sent. It was the joke that sent an entire country into a frenzy, and I didn't even mean it. It was a complete accident.
Well, John Cleese did stuff worse.
Well, Monty Python did stuff worse. They had. Have you seen the entire skit where it's just called? I think it was just called "Being Offensive." That was the actual title of the skit, and they basically picked races, countries, nations, and just made fun of them. And then at the end of the skit, they had a scene called a game show called "Shoot the Poof," where you had to try and basically gun down a homosexual. And that was in Monty Python. That was back in the 60s. And obviously, if anything like that happened now, they would all be in jail. All of them.
Well, look, the system we know isn't actually trying to protect people's feelings. They're trying to set a precedent to shut down any speech they don't like. And we never hear a word from the left about communist China that I harp on, who's killed over 100 million of their own people in their own admission. And there they have total speech control, and big tech is openly working with them to help suppress their own population. So there's no moral high ground from Silicon Valley and the left. They only fund Black Lives Matter and the rest of it because they want to foment division. That's even in the WikiLeaks, that they're just creating cultural division.
Well, that was the thing that I noticed is a few years ago, Google actually refused to work with China because of the censorship and authoritarianism.
10 years ago, yeah.
But now, suddenly that's changed, and I think it's money. I think that's why. I think China offered them a check that had far too many zeros on it, and Google just sort of threw its principles and morals to the side and decided to accept the offer, because I think they value money more than people suffering.
I actually agree with you, because Google had the slogan, "Don't be evil." And 20 years ago, what was it, 1999, it was set up with CIA, In-Q-Tel, and NSA funding by the US government using NSA keyword software to be able to search the web and have the best system. And Google was pretty fair for its first 16 years or so. And what people voted for, what people clicked on, what people liked, that went to the top. So it was actually crowdsourced, the knowledge of the crowd. Just like a restaurant, you see it full of cars, it's better than the one with no cars. Probably get food poisoning at that one, the one that has 2 cars, versus the one that has 100 cars. But starting about 2 years before Hillary lost, about 5 years ago, that's when they started the shadow banning, rigging the search results, and that's all been confirmed. So when they give these congressional testimonies that, we've never fixed a search result in our whole history, it's an absolute fraud. We've seen all the whistleblowers come out, and we've seen all the admissions, and it's very, very dangerous.
That was the thing as well, I was watching them giving testimonies before Congress, and I was just feeling nothing but absolute anger and fury. Like Jack sitting there going, there is no conservative bias, and it's like, we have a wealth of evidence and everything to support this. Like, when was the last time that a left-wing or Democratic, MP or Congresswoman or anything like that got banned? It's always been right-wing people. I mean, even just this week, I think a few hundred right-wing channels have been terminated from YouTube, and then on the same day, just yesterday, Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, went on Vox to say, people should be allowed to upload whatever they want to YouTube. Well, that's...
So she's insulting your intelligence. She's saying, we don't censor. But see, they play a semantical game. They say we don't censor, but then when they list you as hurtful, and these incredibly vague outlines, then you're taken down, not because of censorship, but because you violated the community guidelines. It's like, the Soviet Union didn't kill anybody. The local committees called for you to be shipped to a gulag where you starve to death.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, is it's like they keep the rules really, really vague on purpose so that they can selectively enforce them.
Well, this is how tyrannies always start. Everybody overuses the Nazi analogy, calls Trump a Nazi and all this stuff. I mean, if anything, he's super pro-Israel, so it's upside down world. But Hitler got in power in 1933, but it took him 4 or 5 years just to make groups he was targeting live in ghettos, not be able to run businesses, isolate them, then take their bank accounts away by 1937, 1938. Then it wasn't until the 1941 or so, in the middle of the war, they started shipping people to forced labor camps. And so that's the authoritarian system they always use. They first isolate you, have the general public go along with having you lose your freedoms, and then once that happens, once your group's taken down, then it's open season on everybody. So that's the famous quote by the pastor saying, First, they came for the trade unionists. I wasn't a trade unionist, so I did nothing. Then they came for the communists. I wasn't a communist, so I did nothing. And then they came for the Jews. I wasn't a Jew. So, and then they came for the Catholics. And finally, they came for me. He was like a Protestant, and there was nobody left.
Well, we use that phrase now, except we say first they came for Alex Jones.
I have seen that. And they definitely did, because like artillery opening up for 2 years, they demonized me, lied about me, and admitted in court cases and stuff, we're going to use him to get rid of New York versus Sullivan, the law where you have more free speech and libel laws can't shut down the press as easily. And so once they built this straw man, this hated pinata, then Democrats and the tech people went along with my unpersoning, my deplatforming, and then the model was set to go after all the other dominoes.
I think that was the point. What you were basically used as the catalyst to push this in. See, for example, they generated so much hatred towards you for ages, and the average person in the street probably hates Alex Jones. So when they hear that a really, really shitty authoritarian tactic, it was very clear that big tech all met in a room and agreed to get rid of you all at once, all on the same day.
And it was that Sunday meeting that Tim Cook of Apple admits they had. So they had their Sunday meeting, wrote up the memo, sent it out, and then at 3 a.m. they all executed the big four, Apple, Google, Facebook, and Twitter, all executed at 3 a.m.
Now that was the thing is...
It's like Palpatine, execute order number 66.
that's exactly what it was like. Yeah. That is exactly it, but it's the fact is that big tech, huge conglomerate corporations essentially deleted a person. Basically, you were shipped off to the Ministry of Truth, and Winston was sitting there and got Alex Jones on person rectify.
Because they digitally kill you, so then they can really launch the big attack.
Yeah.
Once they've silenced you, well, now you're sitting there in the courtroom with a gag in your mouth. They can go, and this man is a child molester, and this man is this, and none of it's true.
And you've had your platforms completely taken away, so you can't defend yourself unless someone takes the effort to go to Infowars.com.
Exactly, and the good news is people know the media has been lying to them, and they know that I exposed Epstein actually 12 years ago and said he was into eugenics and into Satanism, because that's what they're all into. He headed up the David Rockefeller's Institute in New York, and they're setting up eugenics or transhumanism. So I already knew Epstein headed that up. People were like, whoa, you didn't just say he had islands and was running compromise operations with blackmail. You said specifically that he was into eugenics and transhumanism because he was the head operator of the group that met at the Albert Einstein University with Oprah Winfrey and Ted Turner and Bill and Melinda Gates and Warren Buffett and David Rockefeller. And the articles that had come out about it admitted they're establishing a world government, and they're establishing it to carry out transhumanism.
That was one thing that we were addressing as well. Have you not noticed the Me Too movement immediately stopped caring when Epstein happened? Like, whenever there was a famous actor or anybody that got Me Too'd or a comedian, the press were all over. Like, remember who was the huge one that happened? Kavanaugh. Like, they had her, she was in the media all the time, and like, oh, listen to this woman, Me Too, hashtag Me Too. What about Epstein's victims? They've just stopped caring. Have you seen any of them getting interviewed?
Well, that's right. Well, no, that's because Hillary and Bill were on board all those times. That's because all the royals were, flying around on there, executives, and again, you had Bill Gates meeting with Epstein in New York, and he won't say why he was meeting with him. Well, we know the group because we have articles going back years ago about them meeting in secret to save the earth by depopulating it. So when you read about people like the big director Harvey Weinstein, who also hung around with Epstein and flew around on the Lolita Express and went to Pedophile Island, when you read about those guys, you'd be some beautiful young woman, and in some cases underage, a lot of times even younger, but he would enjoy horrifying them and making them, sit there and get in the shower and clean his rear end and stuff. And it's all about humiliating beautiful young women and dominating them and sucking energy off. That's kind of the lowest level. But then also there's have sex with an underage person, have sex with a child, torture a child, humiliate a child. They get the most psychic energy off of that. So there's a continuum of levels that they're engaged in, all the way to child torture and child sacrifice.
I never knew about any of that stuff. I knew there was I thought the paedophile ring thing was all about sexual gratification. Is it a lot more?
It's about raw power. It's about breaking God's rules. It's about humiliating the potential seed of the universe. A child has all this potential to create a whole new universe. As Mahatma Gandhi said, each of us has the seed of the universe in us. So we're made in the image of God. And so a child has the potentiality, just like humans have built all this technology and we'll go off-world and interdimensional soon. When we sleep and have DMT experiences, things like that, it's been proven that we go to other dimensions. I mean, there are people that go and have DMT events that doctors run, and 50 people, 100 people all see the very same hallucination. Well, it's not the same hallucination. It opens the veil. And so they're having communications. But the way the universe works is high-level stuff won't come in to that position because of free will. Only low-level stuff that breaks God's rules that can only get as high as our plane of existence, and we're the event horizon for them. They can't get past this. And so that's why they're trying to do that. And this is what the establishment actually believes. And so they go out to satisfy the entities that they're getting knowledge from and that they're serving. These entities are older than they are, but not more powerful, but they think they are. So they've joined forces with these satanic and demonic entities. The universe is full of this stuff to hurt children and do things because the entities are into that, because they hate God at the higher levels, so they can capture a seed and destroy it. They believe they extract power from it. So it's a bleeding of the higher orders.
Right, so it's basically child sacrifice to take the power of the child.
Yeah, that's why every culture, whether it was the ancient Europeans or the ancient Mesoamericans in Latin America, hell, they had sacrifice right here in Texas by the Karankawa, or whether it was people in Hawaii, or whether it was people in Tahiti, or whether it was people in ancient Eastern Europe or ancient China. Every culture built pyramids and sacrificed children to entities that would only appear to them if they tortured so many children. And then they would give them advanced knowledge.
So is it in exchange for knowledge then as well?
Yes, but it's always twisted knowledge that will only hurt humanity.
Right. So is it sort of like a monkey's paw wish where you'll get what you want, but there's a catch?
Sure. It's like, in the Middle East, like they have the thing of the jinn. But if you ask them for 1,000 pounds of gold, you better ask for, I want you to put right over there on the floor, away from everybody, 1,000 pounds of gold, and then go away forever for my second wish or whatever.
Yeah.
So those are all archetypes of how this works. See, take a dog. Dogs only see in black and white except a little bit of red and a little bit of blue. Cows only see in black and white except for a little bit of red. And deer only see in black and white. Well, does green exist, or does orange exist, or does yellow exist just because they can't see them?
It all depends on the perception. Like people say that about the fourth dimension as well, where it's real. We just only have the ability to perceive 3 dimensions, but just because we can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there.
Exactly. And see, satanic forces can only get up to the second dimension through the third and the fourth through us. So the lesser systems have to jack through us like avatars. But you're always wondering, why do the Satanists want to cut their tongues off and their genitals off, or kill babies, or like why in Event Horizon, when they go through the black hole to hell, are they just ripping themselves apart? Because that's all they can do. That's who they are. They resonated with that energy. But so you've got the lower dimensions assaulting the higher dimensions.
So do you think that that's why a lot of neolibs and neocons are very pro-war? They want to inflict that evil upon the world?
Yes, war creates more sorrow, more dark energy, more destruction than any other huge blood sacrifice.
Yeah.
So it blows a hole interdimensionally. See, that's why you go to these ancient sites like Stonehenge, where they did a lot of human sacrifice. It's not just a ley line with a lot of energy electromagnetically that's coming out. It's kind of like you go to the Caribbean, you could chum the ocean, for sharks to come. And if they do it every day for years, there'll be a bunch of, off Cozumel, there'll be a bunch of 12-foot tiger sharks that show up. And they're tame. Divers go down, people pay a lot of money, they sign a waiver. You're not in a cage, and you feed the tiger sharks these big chunks of meat, and they eat them, and then they come back like dogs every day. Okay? Well, it's the same thing. Satanists and the occult, they go to these sacred sites to kill animals and people over and over and over again. So interdimensionally, there are things swimming around it, waiting, that then swim up at those points. And then if the rewards are big enough to the entities, then they will impart advanced knowledge. If you read like all the old, not fake stuff like the Satanic Bible and all that, but actual real black magic manuals and things that all come out of Solomon's temples and when it was set up almost 3,000 years ago. If you look at all that, it's all in the Bible, they were basically engaging in these rituals to get advanced knowledge from the spirits. And so that's what they're doing, is they're contacting aliens. Just aliens don't come from space, they come interdimensionally, they're all around us.
Right, but the fact is, why have they not learned their lesson if the knowledge they're receiving is cursed? Ultimately, it leads to bad things.
Well, they don't care, and the demons tell them, you've got to go do bad things so you can resonate with us, so we can properly give it to you. Like, again, they tell you all this in Hollywood. Take Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and it's real cheesy and everything, but it's one of the only good of the first three, I think. But Palpatine tells the newly minted Darth Vader, but his eyes aren't yellow, he isn't totally turned over yet, you need to go kill all the kids at the Jedi Temple, and then only then will you be strong enough for the dark side. So he's got to go kill a bunch of little, he goes and does a child sacrifice, little kids that loved him. He kills basically his own kids that he taught and loved to get the satanic power. That's what they do. And George Lucas is telling you.
Yeah.
So Hollywood is obsessed with the currency of molesting children, but that's only one level of it. About half of them end up disappearing, and they torture them really to death, really hardcore.
Is there not an equivalent? Say for example, you've got the demonic powers that are imparting bad knowledge onto us. Is there not a good equivalent to it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the good equivalent is being loving to your children and working hard and being strong and standing up to bullies. And we all know what's good. We all know green fields and the sky and swimming and life and being happy and being honorable. That's all the higher dimensions. It's just we're caught here. Earth is really purgatory between heaven and hell.
Yeah, because I do kind of feel that we live in a really narcissistic and unforgiving age. I feel like we don't care about people and care about the world as much as we used to.
We live in a giant energy system. I mean, it's literally boot camp, testing where we want to go. Do we want to go to the higher dimensions? We have free will.
Yeah.
Conscious. We have all these, genetic memories, race memories, memories of everything. That's what the instincts are. And so you have to be given free will. And so you have to be put into this zone, a real third dimensional, not a simulation, a real third dimensional system in a real creation so that we can make decisions about what we're going to do. This is all a testing ground.
What do you feel the ultimate end result's going to be? Because I've got a feeling... I try my best not to get blackpilled. I try my best not to get upset and think everything's pointless, none of this is going to work, nothing we do can change. And I do try and prevent myself from getting to there. Like, I want to be a good person, I want to give people freedom, I want to have a family, I want to raise my kids well and raise them to be good people. But it's a case of the people who are the evil ones, I feel, are the ones that have the power. And it's a case of how can we take it from them?
We only have power in this limited zone and only for a limited period of time.
Yeah.
And so betting on the universe and God, having children is putting your cards on the table. It's actually getting in the arena. Having children is getting in the arena. They want to kill them and use them. We want to give them the chance at free will. And we want to put them into this so that we're betting on them in the future. And then that's going to make us make the right decisions to make sure they come with us.
I would agree with you on that. I feel like being a good person and then passing that on to your, because obviously that's what life is. It's basically passing your genes on to the next generation to continue life and make sure life can be prosperous.
And think about that. We'll keep going.
No, it was just basically, it's not just your genes and everything that you're passing on, it's also your personality, your thoughts, your good deeds and everything, and you're wanting your child to be a continuation of that. Because
you're passing on exactly a world we built, and then genetically it's every human, from wherever we came from, through all of eternity, is compacted into the genes. And that's just literally the earth suit of all our ancestors and our experiences going forward. But then they've proven that there's something ethereal, a spirit that's jacking in and resonating with the cells in your body. But this is just a body. So even all the genetics and all that. I mean, take chickens. You've heard of epigenetics?
No.
They've taken chickens 10 generations, 20 generations, 30 generations, they don't forget, raised them indoors in warehouses, inside where they never get a look at the outside, anything. And 20 generations later, they can project on the ceiling clouds, the sun, all of these. And they can project a triangle or a rectangle or a circle flying along, they don't care. And they can put like a crane, a big bird flying with big long feet. The minute it's a hawk, the look of a hawk, they all run screaming like it's the end of their life into their coop.
Yeah.
Now, talking about instincts, beyond instincts. It's all the encoding of the millions of generations before of the birds that know that's what eats me. So that's why kids are scared of monsters and things with big teeth. That's why have you ever seen children, when they go in or out of a door, they're scared of doors. Well, for all of our development, big cats and things would wait outside the door when children came out to eat them. So only children that saw that and knew that passed that on.
Yeah.
You understand? And so we already have all this programming. the problem is a lot of people only have programming, you could say, for what they've experienced on this planet. Clearly, a lot of people have information that was in earlier things called old souls. And so they have more advanced stuff in future situations because we all, like we've experienced it before. It's like they tell you in like the Matrix 3 or whatever, which is all Luciferian Illuminati kind of externalization of the method. They're like, oh, this is the 900th and whatever time that they've drilled into Zion or whatever and destroyed it, and we're finally going to beat you this time. And so that's the whole point. Is like they know they've already been attacked over and over and over again. And so it's this replay over and over again where this system's trying to find out how to crack free will. The devil's lost over and over again.
That's kind of blew my mind a little bit. So this is something that could have happened many, many times before. We're just having a
It's been proven with the epigenetics that it's not just chickens when they see a hawk that run, but they don't run from another bird projectile. They've never seen a hawk, never seen a chicken killed. They just know that's what kills me. And then they've also done the epigenetic test where they're all freaked out, and people have, like you see movies about space and all this. It just seems like, well, that's what we're supposed to do. Like I've seen this before. Well, it's because there's a lot of going on here. I mean, it's not like, obviously humans did not originate on this planet.
I don't feel we did either.
But we'd be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
We were clearly put here by God. We're made in God's image, to from a lower form to develop to build an Earth suit for this environment. I mean, God didn't just build some suit over here. God's so masterful, eternal. God gives us a suit that's millions of years old. You understand how powerful that suit is?
Yeah.
And then the suit goes to the next level. Then we get another body, go through another level, another body, another level, until one day we're sitting at the table with the big guy.
So it's almost like each sort of, you've seen the famous picture of the evolution where it's the ape, transforming into man. Like each one is an iteration getting smarter and smarter as it goes along, but it's not 100% to do with the size of the brain. It's almost like knowledge from the monkey is being passed down every generation. So it's a learning process as you go down.
But it was all there. And again, they've proven that the apes and all that really aren't even our line. It gets more complex. There were big jumps. But the point is, evolution's real. We all instinctively know it is, but not the evolution we're told. It's not the preachers going, the Earth's 6,000 years old, I made the calculation. And then the other guy going, no, the Earth. Here's an example. Before one of the gas giants, I always forget, is it Saturn or Jupiter, got hit by Shoemaker-Levy. That was the name of the big comet that broke up in pieces and blew holes in the... Guys, look up Shoemaker-Levy for me. I had that little glitch of the Matrix, I can't remember which one it was, in the 80s or whatever, or was it 90s, that hit the gas giant. I think it was Jupiter, or was it Saturn? But it broke up in like 6-7 pieces, and each hole was bigger than the Earth. It blew on the side of the gas giant as it went down into the hard core of it. And they'd always said, oh, huge asteroids only hit the Earth every couple million years. But then once we got satellites, we saw all these big blast points, most big lakes around the world are actually spots where asteroids hit. Yeah. Now they know these things are actually hitting probably every 100,000 years, maybe even sooner. So see, what science is telling us, it's only a theory too. They don't know. It was Jupiter. And what year did it hit? No. It's okay. The point is that once they saw that, now they have all these telescopes, they're seeing giant asteroids and comets and stuff hitting planets all the time. And out in the Kuiper Belt, it's just like,
it's a huge field.
It's just giant asteroid field.
Yeah.
92.
92.
And 94 it hit. And 94. Looks like it hit a couple times.
Yeah.
Broke apart in 92, hit Jupiter in 94.
Yeah, so broke apart in 92, hit Jupiter in 94. I'm only bringing that up because now they know the Earth's getting hit all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing as well that I've noticed. It's something that's even taken part in culture as well. Like, for example, I think it was the Inuit people actually had metal tools, and the reason they got it was from meteorite strikes that had actually happened way up in the Arctic Circle, and they knew, they considered that to be a blessing from gods as well, from, their equivalent of what they believed to be a god, But there was also one thing they were saying as well about information being passed down, and this is one thing that freedom of speech actually factors into this. Say, for example, if InfoWars disappeared completely, you were absolutely depersoned, you were removed from the internet entirely, we would still be able to use our speech to pass that on to people. So it's a case of...
the verbal tradition.
The verbal tradition of it getting passed down. For example, the Aboriginal people in Australia have a story that's tens of thousands of years old where they talk about the island, Australia being much, much bigger, and there being this whole land which was eaten by the great ocean beast. They're talking about the ocean, and it turns out, see where the great coral reef is, that used to all be above the water. Like it basically
Yes.
got flooded and sank into the ocean. But 10,000, tens of thousands of years later, that same story, they remember that land being there, and that got passed down through words. And this is the thing that we still have, is even if you got deleted, removed,
Verbal
annihilated
traditions.
completely, we can still pass it down. Because Banksy, do you know the graffiti artist Banksy? He gave an excellent quote where he says that you die twice. One first is when you actually die, and the second is when someone says your name for the very last time.
I agree with that. That's powerful. And exactly, they want to kill. I mean, you take Eric Blair, whose pen name was George Orwell, and he wrote, of course, essays about 1984. That's why we know what he meant by it.
Yeah.
And he'd been a communist, a Fabian socialist, and found out this is horrible. So he wrote a book about how horrible it would be if it took over by 1984. And in it, he said they're trying to reduce the language down where it's impossible to ever resist again because there's no oral tradition.
Newspeak. That's what
And
it
that
was
is what
referred
the
as,
so-called left is, in their own admissions, in their own WikiLeaks, is monstrous, evil people threatened by the Renaissance, true liberalism in the West, and they're waging total war on it. I mean, that is evil. And a lot of the, as you know, we talked about on air, where they just said, we want strong women to join Trump 2020. They said, we're banning that ad. Someone may see that it's not a woman, and the word woman hurts them. They're not mentally ill doing that. They are waging war against the basic language now.
Yeah, I think it's a case of there is far too much policing of language. It's happening far too often.
Because they're waging war on it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the admitted plan. They're removing it all right now.
But that's the thing, is they're even making, the entry-level requirements and even the requirements to pass your grades and get degrees, they're lowering the bar and everything. They're basically rewarding people for not being as smart. It used to be
Harvard isn't even
Yeah.
making people basically it was like, do whatever you want now. It's just be politically correct.
That shouldn't need to be a factor in whether or not you
Because
get your
you look
degree.
at professional classes,
Yeah.
how hardworking doctors are, and that's all going to robots doing that. And then you won't know what you got hit with, but it's a two-tier class. So the system is threatened by the Renaissance, and there is a sabotage of the human species at our launch level. And then the very globalists claim they're trying to defend the planet. They're the ones doing the genetic engineering, the cloning, the toxic waste dumping, the overfishing, all the societal corruption, all this thing that hurts the earth itself. They want to tax carbon dioxide as the bad thing. It's what plants respirate off of. It's a trace gas, and plants grow faster and are healthier and put off more oxygen when you have them. Everyone knows that. But if they can wage war against what plants live off of, and we'll accept it as poison, and they can tax every level of it and track it, they've dominated the planet. While ignoring all the other stuff they do, Obama just bought that $14 million house right on the water. Under their models, it'll be gone in 10 years. It's all made up. Al Gore said in 2003 that by 2017 we'd all be underwater, but he bought a house right on the beach. It's all just fear-mongering. But now they're bringing in geoengineering. Chemtrails are admitted now. The CIA admits it. Obama admits it. And they have NBC News article about, they are spraying you to keep the earth safe and block out the sun for global warming. But when we're sitting there showing people the patents, 20 years ago, we're the kooks. Now it's admitted.
Well, that's the thing, is you've been proven right about Epstein. You've been proven right about the fluoride as well. And one of the common memes that we're seeing online is, we all owe Alex Jones an apology. Because there has been a lot of things that you have been right about, and you were, maybe, how long was it? Was it 17 years ago? I think you spoke about fluoride.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about it for 25 since I got on air, but yeah, but they can find 17-year-old videos and stuff because right before YouTube came online. But listen, I want to say I'm smart. Fluoride's one of the most studied things out there, and when they turn it into an acid, it makes it weaponized. Hydrofluorosilicic acid, it's deadly poison. We've had top scientists from major universities on. The unanimous scientist of the FDA of all people, it's the guys on top that are bad. In the 90s and again in the early 2000s, they all unanimously, all their scientists, signed papers saying take it out of the water. They had Harvard studies 20 years ago, 10 years ago. New big studies came out in the Journal of American Medicine saying, it lowers IQ, it does all these things. It's just that they would ridicule you if you talked about it then. Now they're having to admit it because no one buys it anymore. But then you go to cell phone radiation and 5G, that's been admitted for decades to give you cancer. So, but where I have been trailblazing from their own, from research that no one else was willing to put out is the psychic vampirism, the taking the energy from women and children and innocent people. These people are into. I mean, I never believed any of this stuff. I researched that. I talked to former top FBI agents like Ted Gunderson who told me all this. And I talked to top generals and people that said, listen, at the bottom of communism, Satanism. and they're taking the energy of the children. I mean, these are like former head of Air Force Weapons Development, and the head of the FBI in LA. I mean, these are like really serious people 20-something years ago going, hey, this is where it really goes. This is what they're really doing. And they're about abomination. Anything that is contrary to how we were designed and made. We have free will. We're allowed to violate it. Okay? Yeah. And God knows we're children. We're babies. We're going to do that. But God says once you get off in this riptide, you go too far, you're going to get taken out to sea. And so that's what's happening. And so, you know, what's really cutting edge is the dimensional model. But I'm only going off that because when you get deeper in what the globalists think, when I was on Joe Rogan earlier this year in February, or in March, whenever it was, he was talking about DMT, and I said, well, for decades, they have government facilities, they're basically like astronauts, but they're mapping other dimensions, that take IV drip DMT, and they stay in there sometimes hours, not 5 minutes, and they're in there mapping and communicating with these things in the U.S. government. Because I had heard that when I was a kid from folks that were living in San Francisco that were under a government grant doing it. 6 months later, just recently, Joe had a guest on, a professor, saying, oh, look, pull it up. It just was announced this week that in Tokyo and in London and other areas, these universities are opening up to the public for people that want to volunteer, and they gave the term to go in like astronauts and model the DMT zone. So now they're going to go from what they were doing, I heard this, probably about 37 years ago, 38 years ago. I was sitting there around the dinner table listening to this. My mom had a friend visiting from San Francisco. Okay, and they were just talking about the researchers and what they were doing, and now they've got to get rid of the elves are everywhere. You got to like get them out of the way. They're hopping around everywhere, and other dimensions, all this other stuff. You got to map it, and they're in there trying to come back and write notes and all this stuff. And I'm hearing this from your kid. You're like, you know, this is kind of scary.
Yeah.
So you go see a movie like Alien or something really scares you because you've heard adults with PhD research stuff, you know, talking about this. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there hearing all this, and so I'm talking about on Joe Rogan. 6 months later, he's got a professor on going, the public's going to be open for this. You're going to be able to go out now, and you're going to be able to go in and talk to the aliens. So this is the infiltration. The infiltration is people are taking these drugs, interfacing. It's amazing. They're making deals with these guys, and they're coming back and building it here.
What do you think is going to happen when the public are able to do it? Because I thought that was something that was reserved only for the elites.
Well, the raw DMT keeps showing like 5 minutes or so, and then you don't know what it is. And well, I saw the shapes, and I saw a creature. They think they can't get you. You know, they'll torture the living hell out of you. You know, I mean, a lot of people, they'll be like 100-foot praying mantis trying to break your will. You know, they'll be like on a spaceship with elves, people all chained up. You know, they've already died. They've got their souls. I mean, it's not. You don't want to play around with it. But the point is, they're sending these governmental astronauts in, and when the aliens show up to talk to them, it's deals they want to make with them. It's more serious talk. It's not just the level. Imagine like in these dimensions, there's lots of like retarded gremlins running around. You know, all this is in lore. Little gremlins, they just want to break stuff, attack people. You know, they want to hurt you. They're jealous of you.
Yeah.
Okay, but they've been around so long, and they're torturing people all the time, so they know stuff you don't know. You're like a baby. Imagine some, 80-pound meth head devil worshiper, but there's a 2-year-old that's going to grow up to be 100 feet tall. But right now it's only 4 feet tall or whatever. It's tough, it's smart, but it doesn't know who it is, and it's born into this system with a 90-pound meth head demon. And it's tripping him and putting poison in the food so it can make this big giant small. And it's giving, it's torturing the giant, giving it electroshock therapy. It's putting on Prozac. It's putting it in front of the TV to make it weak and mentally ill so the little gremlin can manage you throughout your life and then get your soul at the end. Have it go with it. Stay with it forever so they can strut around with all the people they trick to join them and have that power in their lower dimension.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. So it's basically a system of control, but
Yeah, but some people that go to the lower dimension, like the Bible does, God doesn't, very often send people back, and God and people sit back aren't like angels like TV shows.
Yeah.
But there are, until God shuts all this down, it says it's coming at some point. While the dimensional gate's open right now to test us, it'll get shut and then it's rolled up and thrown away. They'll be with each other forever. That there are some humans that were really evil and bad that get let out and get to get sent back to do stuff.
really.
Not physically, but the ghosts, they're lurking around.
But this was one thing that I understood as well is, and you see this through a lot of religious symbolism. Have you seen basically the pine cone symbol?
Yes.
And a lot of symbolism, and the reason
Pineal
for that is, apparently it represents as well as, you've heard of the magic mushrooms.
Yes.
Apparently on the old pine cones that had fell, that's where you would mostly find them growing. And basically, obviously, whenever people ate them, they would trip out, think they had a religious experience, they felt it opened the third eye, and people feel that that may have been the first thing that got people to see over to the other side and made them aware that it was there in the first place, which is why in a lot of religious, texts and stuff like that, it's not even just Christianity. A lot there's the symbol of the pine cone, but you say it represents the pineal gland.
You're absolutely right. I mean, absolutely, and that's why they don't want us on air talking about it.
The thing is, as well, do you feel, what was those stones that we actually spoke about, the ones that said maintain the population of the world under 500 million?
The Georgia Guidestones were reportedly put up by Ted Turner. He lives down the road. And they say keep the world population at 500 million in balance with the earth. And that's just for the outside adherents of the cult. Like, we've got to reduce population, get rid of a lot of the people, get rid of 90+% for the earth. But really the deeper writings are they're going to kill everybody. They say they're only going to be given the Luciferian power to merge the machines when the last human, the last devil, they call us devils, the last devil is destroyed.
Why do we get referred to as devils? I thought we were the purgatory. I thought we were the people that the devils were supposed to win over and bring over to the side of evil.
Well, yeah, but imagine everything's inverted.
Right.
So God's the devil and Satan's God. But I'm saying they see, the globalists in all their writings say humans are a scourge, we're a parasite.
Yeah, but aren't they human themselves?
They believe they're transcendent and transhumanists, and that they've got to transcend us. A big Illuminati guy was the man who wrote the famous book 2001 Space Odyssey, Arthur C. Clarke, the OSS, MI6, all that, inventor of the communication satellite.
Yeah.
And they all tell you the same stories. Well, in Childhood's End, his first big novel that made him big, there's these creatures that are big, red, and they have big black horns, but they're actually the good guys. And humans had a psychic vision before they ever arrived, they were coming, hundreds of thousands of years before. Because we're super psychic, and of course, he's telling you the truth in the book, Revelation method. And they're coming, and they're the visitors, and they give us all life extension. But finally, we've got to give up our bodies and transcend up to this big spaceship that shows up. And the devils just work for it, because on an evolutionary plane, they're not allowed to go to the next level. They're actually telling you what's happening. There's these devils, they can't go up, but they're actually going to help you give up your body, and then you'll transcend. But the truth is, and the devils are trying to figure out how they can transcend by helping with this. But the truth is, they're actually trying to get themselves to transcend by making us their slaves. It's like a jump ladder or something, which they still can't do because they resonate to a lower dimension. And so he's telling you a total Illuminati parable. And then finally, as they fly away, there's still some humans that refused to go with it. Well, the earth's blown up, which is a ripoff of what God says he does after the 1,000-year reign of Christ.
Yeah.
They say, oh no, we come, it's a couple 100-year reign of the visitors. We learn the visitors that are 15-foot tall devils, they're really little fork tails and everything, sweetie pies. They're there to help with the real visitors. But now they tell you, everyone soon can upload to a computer and not die, but you have to die in the process. We're not going to let you be yourself and be with the AI. Well, the AI would have recorded you, tracked you, your voice print, everything. It'll be able to fool your wife that it's you still, but it won't be you. So it's all been the plan.
So even though you've already left, there would still be a projection of you on the earth.
But well, no, that's their model in the book that we're going to upload and go.
Right.
We're actually going to go nowhere. We're going to stay in them, basically in hell or whatever they're. It's not like we can even upload. It's when our bodies die, we'll remain with them. We're thinking we're uploading to a ship. That's just the distraction. We're actually, when we die, we were already with them by choosing them in the free will. It's a Faustian manipulation.
Right, okay, so it's essentially the
So it is the devils. They're like, oh, you upload to this ship, we were trying to get to a higher dimension, but only you can help us, but this mother mind says it'll let us, if we get you to do this. Okay, let me help. You taught us to live longer. You gave us life extension. But notice even that's a lie. We're living less with all their extensions.
Yeah.
But again, they have to tell you metaphysically the truth, but they have to do it in a riddle. Like a vampire has to say, oh, hi, I'm your neighbor. I just moved in. Nice night, isn't it? Do you mind if I drop by sometime? Yeah. Can I come in? Yeah, come on in. They say, can I come in? Am I invited in? You'll say, can I come in your house? Can you take the Google Assist or the Amazon Alexa or whatever it is, take it in my house. Then they tell you, oh, by the way, I'm listening to you. By the way, I'm tracking who you are. By the way, I'm figuring out who you are so we can F you over later.
I have no idea why anybody buys those. I don't have one. I would never
Sure, exactly,
own one of them.
but the phone is the same thing.
Yeah.
They just gave it to us before they were ready to roll out the next phase of telling you they're doing it. And then the phone's not always in the room, so they want us to take more. So they have to tell us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I understand what you mean. Like, surveillance is a massive issue. right now. Like, we've got a bill. We had a. This is the thing, is that we have MPs that were masquerading as sort of free speech and freedom-loving people, and there was a few of them where I seen their name on a bill. They were suggesting pushing for a bill where, see how we already have free speech laws in the UK where you can be punished for offending someone if you post something public. Well, they wanted people to actually be arrested and charged for things they said in private conversations.
Oh, yeah. That's
well.
WhatsApp. Facebook is already telling you what you can and can't say. And they want to make you on Facebook be in these rooms. And now they say they're going to read what you do in private. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just it's mass surveillance, and I think it is because of the case of the internet. I feel is the greatest creation that mankind ever made. I genuinely believe that, because it gave every single person the ability to access all of the information like in our pocket.
And they got us caught in the bear trap. There's a piece of meat in the bear trap. Looks good. Once we step foot.
I think the internet's a danger for them. I think the fact.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But they thought it would be the bear trap. We've gotten around it and used it. But so they're now going full out with, we're going to read your private conversations. We're going to have a social score where you won't be able to get a job if you say things we don't like. They're trying to bully us into submission and showing us what their original plan was, but they're trying to accelerate towards the authoritarianism.
Yeah, I think it's because they didn't expect us to be as switched on as we became, because the internet made everyone smarter. It made us be able to communicate to everyone easier. We were all able to much easier pull our resources together and work together against the authoritarians. The internet, I feel, became our biggest weapon against them.
No, I agree. It's a weapon we seized.
Yeah,
but now they're seizing it back.
Well, they're trying. I don't think they're going to do very well, because the fact is the internet was built. You know, the guys that originally created it, I feel the original creators of the internet.
Oh, they built it in case of nuclear war so you could keep communicating.
Yeah, they didn't intend for the authoritarians to use it, but I think once they created it with the intention of it being the Wild West information highway, you know, everything's permitted, share whatever you like, and then I think once they created it, the authoritarians seized it and tried to use it as a way to control us, but instead we used it in the way that we saw fit. That's one thing that I get a little bit annoyed about with like the SJWs, because like, I don't know how you were at school and everything, but a lot of us were nerdy. We liked Dungeons and Dragons, video games. We got bullied. We didn't really fit in. But the place that where we could all hang out was the internet, and it didn't matter if you had abs or a lot of money or a nice car. All you were to people was your username, and it really didn't matter who you were or what you looked like. You could joke around.
It was about your intellect.
Yes, exactly. It was more about what you could provide to the conversation. You know, were you funny? Were you smart? And all that type of stuff. You know, the physical, you know, sort of, what's it called, like fake plastic,
Barbie doll stuff.
Yeah, that none of that stuff mattered. All that mattered was, you know, who you were in here, and basically, we were the first people that came on the internet. We created internet culture, and we built this world in the way that we saw fit. And I think that's why you're getting so much pushback from places like 4chan and people like us, is because we created internet culture. We're the ones that made it, and now these people are coming in and telling us, "Oh no, you can't say that. You can't do this. You're not allowed on this platform."
I believe it's going to backfire. And you can go through the progression of the internet. Back in 1962, there was a research scientist, psychiatrist, who wanted to track government propaganda and see its effect on the public, so that everyone would be wired into small computers that hooked into larger hubs. We can look this up. And they wanted it for social engineering to be able to track and see the stimuli of propaganda and see how it worked. Then a bunch of Pentagon and MIT scientists and British scientists got it, and they said, no, we want this to go around the Soviet Union and corruption and be a way for governments to communicate, researchers to communicate, and not just through peer-reviewed studies and all this stuff, but actual have freedom so that you can't ever shut it down. So it was born to be a system to control people and track them and be a web, be a net you catch people in, okay? But then, by the time it got deployed, it became, people wanted it to be a system to free. So it was a fight over the architecture. And then by the last 6, 7, 8 years, they decided, okay, this is too dangerous. It's backfired on us. It's causing revolutions against us. Even before that, they said, let's get these big mega sites together that control 90% of the web. Then when we get people in them, then we can control and social engineer and use peer pressure and dictate, and then have those systems interface with banking and currency and travel, where if you're not a good little globalist, we restrict what you do. And so it's been a tug of war since the internet idea came into function, what it was going to be.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is I do feel that we are taking it back. It is still considered the Wild West of information. It's where whistleblowers can go and share the information, and it's the biggest tool for communicating and turning everybody
I agree.
against.
And Google's broken its algorithm. It doesn't even work anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely desperate, and we're definitely winning.
The best thing about their AI is it still can't detect comedy or sarcasm.
That's why they want memes banned.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the AI can't tell what is this.
Yeah, exactly. It can't tell. It's
AI,
just-
if it was anti-human, would say, "Oh, this meme that Infowars put out, that shows, murders in movies where they're targeting babies." It'd say, "Oh, good, we're getting rid of the humans." They don't know it's a pro-baby thing.
Yeah, I think the thing that I just enjoy is like a lot of people consider you to be the king of memes.
Is that really true?
I think no. The fact is, people see you as like the original meme on the internet. Like there's always been funny pictures, videos, and everything about you. There's one. My absolute favourite one is if you heard the indie song, the slow indie song that's been made out of your quotes. It's actually quite a beautiful song. I really like it. Have you not heard this?
Which one is that?
It's. Do you want me to show you?
I just so.
It's beautiful.
I know my kids like them.
It really is a beautiful song.
Is that the one with?
It's your quotes, and it looks like basically they've used videos of you, so it looks like you're singing a song, but it's a guy singing it all nice on the guitar.
Oh, is it the one about we love our Somalis?
Yes, I love that.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the best ones.
Oh yeah,
That
I've
was my
seen that.
favourite.
That's we love our Somalis. We love our Muslims too. Oh, they're so good. Oh, they're so sweet. And see, the thing about that is AI would say, "Oh, he's saying Muslims are good. Muslims are sweet."
Yeah.
What I'm really saying is, I was showing newscast clips where like the Somalis were like killing all these people in Minnesota, and the media tries to cover it up. The police is like, "No, we love them, and they're so good, they're so sweet." That was actually a quote. So people think it's like comedy. I'm actually and again, I'm not against Somalis. I want them to be free and happy. They're still selling slaves in Somalia.
Yeah.
Women have no rights. And then Omar comes here and lectures us how the world's supposed to work, and then I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Well, I think the thing is as well is like I've done this with a video where I was making fun of a gay guy who was basically saying that gay should be included in everything. It should be forced into everywhere. And I entitled the video, "We Need More of That Gay," and I got monetized. Because it couldn't pick up that I was being sarcastic. So, that's a way we can get around the AI.
Well, yeah, the thing is, I've never been against people that are homosexual, except that they go, "Don't say homosexual." Well, it's heterosexual. And then it's like, "By the way, I want to have a meeting with your children, small children." And it's like, "Oh, that's pedophilia." I mean, it's the pushiness, man.
That's one thing that I'm always bothered by. Like, I don't see how when it comes to rights, I don't feel that groups have rights. I feel that individuals have rights. Like, one group doesn't get a certain set of rights or protections versus this other group. The only,
It's like a new royalty.
yeah, the only people that I would agree with being a protected class, which this transcends race, gender, everything, is children. Children being considered a protected class.
Because they haven't developed understanding yet.
Exactly. They don't know consent. They don't know, you can't, for example, your 6-year-old can't turn around and go, your 6-year-old boy can't go, "Dad, I'm a girl. Oh, well, we better just pump you full of puberty blockers and hormone
And they
replacement."
learn that they get attention in the schools, and they're also targeting autistic and mentally retarded children. And the school goes, "Jimmy, you get a lollipop. You're a girl. I'm a girl." They go, "Well, let's cut those balls off." Liberal. I kind of like Kim Jong.
Keep talking.
You know about hot. Look how satisfied he is, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's why
Only a woman can pull off being that manly.
it's always sunny in North Korea.
That's right.
But just to close up, there was one thing, an actual serious thing that I did want to say to you. About when Nazi Pug happened, I had the media coming after me, I lost my jobs and everything, I had people trying to, whenever I even had family and friends and everything sort of like turn away from me, but one of the very few people that actually came out to help me was you.
Well, of course.
Yeah, you came out and you actually brought a lot of attention like onto my case, and that was what you did, and what people like Sargon and everyone did, actually put wind in my sails and made me continue down YouTube and basically put me where I am just now because you put the wind in my sails.
Oh, good.
So I just want to say thanks.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we tried to
Thank
thank you. We tried to help everybody because we need help.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we're all in this together, man. Hang separate or hang together, like Benjamin Franklin said. And this is really serious. This is a plan for a global social score. They're trying to slide it in right now and just trying to put it in place. It's already here, and people need to really come together and say no to it.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I know that a lot of people on our side, even though we don't agree with each other, we all know that we're in this together and we need to stick together.
Absolutely.